My policy that I'm going to talk about is sports gambling. Gambling. To most, the word has no good meaning to them. The stigma behind that word is nowhere near positive at all. But how much does the regular person really know about the gambling world? The main topic I'm going to be talking about today is sports gambling in Missouri House Bill number 1666. First off, I will explain sports gambling and give background and information before I explain why this bill should be passed in the House. There will be a lot of points that I make, but my main points will be economic gain. It's a huge industry already, and it supports all sports. To start off, I'm going to explain a little bit about what the proposed bill states. According to HouseMo.gov, House Bill 1666 wants to enact 14 new sections of sports wagering. Some other important lines are games of skill and games of chance will be allowed, as well as wagering boats and ferries. Also, sports wagering may be held in person at a licensed building or mobile online wagering. Lastly, there is a section that there will be a 10% tax of the gross income that casinos and companies will have to pay, unless they do not make any money on that day. Next, I'm going to talk about a little background information before I go into the main reasons on why this bill should be passed. I will try and keep this part as simple and less confusing as possible, but sports gambling has three main bets that most people wager on. They are called the spread, the total, and the money line. Of course, there are so many other ways that you can bet on, but I'm not going to get too deep into those ways. The easiest bet to understand is the money line. You simply pick a winner of the game and you bet according to their odds. The team who has the negative odds, for example the Patriots if you look at my infographic, is the favorite. According to Bovada, this company had the Patriots at a minus 145 money line to win the 2017 Super Bowl. To make the numbers easy, if you bet $145 on the Patriots and they won, you would get that money that you wagered plus another $100 from winning the wager. As for the Falcons, they are plus 125, so if you bet $100 on the Falcons and they won, you would get your $100 back plus $125 for winning the wager. The next easiest is the total. The total is a line of total points scored in the whole game. For example, in the infographic, the line was 59.5. If you think there would be 60 or more total points, you would take the over, and if you think there would be 59 total points or under, you would take the under. The most confusing to some people would be the point spread. There is a favorite, which is the minus number, and an underdog, which is the plus number. If you look at the infographic, the Patriots are minus 3, which means they need to win by 3 or more points to cover the spread. For the Falcons, they are plus 3, so if they lose by less than 3 points or win the game outright, they cover their spread. After giving you all that information, some may think it's unbelievable how anyone enjoys this with all the thinking you have to do. According to Forbes.com, the percentage of Americans that gamble on sports during 2021 rose from 5% all the way to 12%. That is almost 40 million Americans who legally gamble on sports in the United States. But that's not to mention the people who illegally gamble on sports where gambling is not allowed, but they end up getting away with it. According to AlongTheBoards.com, there are online websites available for people in illegal states to place bets or pay to win money under the table. This brings up the argument of why not legalize it if it is happening anyway. Overall, sports gambling numbers are through the roof in states where it is legalized. With how large of an industry sports gambling is, theoretically if you add more states to the industry, it will become even larger than it already is. To go back to the 12% statistic, that number doubled in 2021 and sports gambling isn't even fully legalized yet. To go along with the large industry, there's one main idea throughout the industry, and that would be money. According to Statistica.com, the revenue that sports gambling produced in 2021 was upwards of $2.1 billion. To go along with the outrageous money that is being made, there will be thousands of jobs created. If sports gambling were to be legalized everywhere, an Oxford economics study is projecting over 125,000 jobs will be created, with paying over $6 billion in wages, which would be around $48,000 salary for each worker that is employed. With all that money being made, of course there is taxes imposed on the states that they would need to pay back. If you put a 2% tax on a $2.1 billion revenue that was made in 2021, there would still be $42 million worth of taxes that the states could pay out to local governments. This money would then be used by the state for whatever needs need to be met with tax dollars. If we look at Missouri alone, according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, the House bill would bring more than $98 million in revenue and could give around $10.8 million to local Missouri governments for their needs. My last main point about why this bill should be passed is because it supports all kinds of sports. In Missouri, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch also commented that the professional sports teams are backing up the idea of passing a sports gambling bill. The teams would be allowed to let spectators place bets in their home stadium, and the team would gain revenue for it after taxes were paid. Looking at the sports gambling world as a whole, there are so many sports to bet on, and when people bet on a game, of course they would like to watch it. This gives other sports the opportunity for exposure to new fans strictly because their sports are being bet on. In the end, other states have already shown how beneficial sports gambling industry can be. Missouri and other states are already in the process of legalizing it, and passing a bill would lead to economic gain, a large business industry, and the support of all sports and entertainment. There are so many benefits to the idea of sports gambling, and there are many states that will be following Missouri if this bill is passed.